Welcome to the Abroad Link blog, your window into the world of translation and international communication. I'm Anna, and today we present a new article designed to enlighten, inspire, and take you on a journey through words. Enjoy! What is meant exactly by accurate and up-to-date within the scope of the MDR 2017-745 language requirements for medical devices? Operationalize MDR language requirements by aligning IFU translations with validated master versions and implementing update protocols that ensure audit-ready accuracy and regulatory compliance. For medical device manufacturers, PRRCs, and QA/RA teams, the requirements of Regulation EU 2017-745, MDR, for IFUs, labeling, and accompanying documentation go beyond simply having the correct translation. The regulation stipulates that the information supplied by the manufacturer must be understandable, consistent, and kept up to date in the languages required by each member state. The purpose of this article is to clarify these concepts and to propose practical ways of demonstrating during an audit or inspection that your IFU and label translations are genuinely accurate and up to date as required under MDR.
How does the MDR describe the information that must be supplied with the device? First of all, it's important to identify the documents in question and their types. Annex I, Section 23 specifically stipulates that the device must be accompanied by all the information necessary for its identification, safety, and performance. This information must be easy to understand by the user or patient. If the manufacturer has a website, the relevant information must be made available and kept up to date. Article 1011 adds that this information must be provided in the official languages required by the member state where the device will be placed on the market.
How can the terms accurate and up-to-date be interpreted by PRRCs? Even though the terms accurate and up-to-date are not systematically used as such in the MDR, they describe the operational reality perfectly. Accurate equals aligned with the validated master version. Content, meaning, warnings, indications. Up-to-date equals consistent with the latest approved version, including changes resulting from PMS, vigilance, CAPA, as well as modifications to the design or intended use. In practice, for a PRRC or a QA/RA manager, accurate means the translation does not alter the intended use or indications. No warning is diluted, omitted, or reformulated to the point of changing its meaning. No additional claims related to performance or clinical benefit are added locally. Up-to-date means all languages reflect the same master version of the IFU. Changes resulting from PMS/vigilance/CAPA are propagated in all languages. No obsolete version is still in circulation in a given market.
Why are these requirements related to accurate and up-to-date translations central to MDR compliance? What are the risks of an inaccurate translation? An inaccurate translation can lead to regulatory risk, inconsistencies between the version submitted to the notified body and the translated version, differences between countries, for example, different wording of indications in French and German that are difficult to justify during an audit, application of Article 16, certain actions by a distributor may subject them to the manufacturer's obligations, clinical risk, misinterpretation by healthcare professionals or patients, use beyond the intended conditions if contraindications are not clearly indicated, increase in incidence or near incidence attributable to confusing information.
What are the risks of a translation that is not up to date? A translation that is not up to date creates a gap between the regulatory reality and what the user sees. IFUs that do not reflect changes to the design or material, failure to include a warning in response to a vigilance report, coexistence on the market of old and new versions of the same IFUs. In this case, the manufacturer may be considered in breach of their general obligations to keep documentation and information up to date.
Which articles of the MDR govern the translation and updating of information? What are the key points of Article 1011 and Annex I, Section 23? For regulatory teams, there are three aspects that are particularly important. Article 1011. The manufacturer must ensure that the device is accompanied by the information stipulated in Annex I, Section 23, in the official languages determined by each member state. Annex I, Section 23. Information supplied by the manufacturer. Requirements for readability, clarity, and consistency. Obligation to keep information up to date, particularly when the manufacturer has a website. Guidance on the Commission's language requirements. Summary table of language requirements by member state. A reminder that the manufacturer must adapt to these requirements for each market.
How does Article 16 apply to translations carried out by distributors? Article 16 specifies the situations in which the manufacturer's obligations also apply to importers, distributors, other individuals involved in translating or repackaging devices. In summary, a simple, accurate translation into the required language, performed under an appropriate quality system, can continue to be considered a standard economic operator activity. Once changes affect the content, addition or modification of information, this constitutes a regulatory change that could invoke the provisions of Article 16.1 and/or 16.4. The MDCG 2021-26 Q&A outlines specific cases of repackaging and relabeling, including translations.
Conclusion. In the context of translations for medical devices, the words accurate and up-to-date carry specific meaning and reflect a regulatory requirement under the MDR and IVDR regulations. In practice, for a manufacturer, PRRC or QARA team, compliance with the MDR 2017/745 language requirements entails demonstrating that each IFU, label, or other documentation is strictly aligned with the validated master version and is updated without delay whenever a change impacts the safety, performance, or intended use of the device. In other words, being accurate and up-to-date are not just linguistic qualities, they are evidence of your quality system and risk management. This is precisely where a specialized medical device and MDR translation service makes the difference. Not only can it provide accurate translations, but it also understands the regulatory expectations for your documents and how to organize processes accordingly.
That concludes this article. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss any of our upcoming posts. All the links are in the description. Thank you again for your loyalty, and see you soon.